Hello, and welcome to a different sort of video I wanted to make today. I got a camera and everything for this video, so I have had a sort of thing I wanted to do, but I haven't been able to think of a good way of making it work with what I was doing earlier. So I wanted to do more of like a personal video rather than just some more funny moments or like me doing well in a video game or something. Mm, because I've had a few things, a few things I have had happen to me, I guess, and just during my life and generally that I feel like I would like to perhaps share, and also see if I could maybe get some information about it from other people, or if somebody might relate to it, I think, or maybe it could be useful for somebody. And also, I uh, thought that by using a camera right there, uh, that I could maybe get better at my social interactions with other people, because I think my sort of get up, as you can see, might suggest that I'm not a skilled socializer. I keep doing the thing also. I don't know. I find it weird to hold eye contact with somebody constantly. So even though I know I should be looking at the camera, I'm looking more at my monitor, because yeah, which you can see on the the reflection in my glasses. These are not glasses, by the way. These are just uh, anti-blue lights, so that's why they're reflecting the screen so much. As you can see, I'm not very good at like the setting up of this these lights and stuff. I have lights for my room, which there, yeah, this one. So it runs like so. If your camera is there, so it's like at the bottom of the desk. It runs into like a U shape, basically, because comes from here and does like a little bit of a U shape like that, and it goes up to there, as you can see. And that's my lighting, which I use when it gets dark, so I can see. Well, not so I can see, but because I don't like looking at the screen in the dark. And some Christmas decorations there too, but that's not really meant to be like Christmas. I just like it like that. And then, oh my god, this is hard. Yes, there. There are my models that I have painted. Mostly Warhammer models, but there are other ones there too. I uh, might edit some photos into there to show off some of that. Then you can see I've got a Star Wars poster thing there, and then I've got Lego cats, but like the tiny Lego stuff. Oh, I can't do my arm. So see, so there's like Hello Kitty, then there's like a little cat there, and then there's the other guys from Hello Kitty. I don't watch Hello Kitty that much, actually at all. But I do like the style. I have a Hello Kitty mousepad, which I can't show because I'd fuck up the camera. But yeah, there's got some energy drinks, like sort of a can collection there. Um, Again, I don't. It took me quite a bit of time to find a good position to put the camera in, so that it sort of looks relatively okay. Because I'm in my room here. Like as you can see, I don't think it looks too bad. This is becoming more of a room tour than anything. But yeah, kind of avoiding the topic, as it were. But anyway, to get back onto topic, it's that, well, I do not know how to make friends. Now, this is probably not that uncommon, I would say, but I've never had real friends, never like really had anybody that I would spend my time with, like at school or anything like that. I still go to school, but I do long distance schooling now, so there's like people of all different ages, and we don't really see each other that often. There's not a lot of social interaction, I guess, which is perfect for me. uh, but yeah, I mean, hmm, it is a double-edged sword indeed. But yeah, like I don't know how to make friends, and I am quite shy and awkward of a person, which I'm not sure if that can come off on a video, as obviously I know that I'm just like talking to myself sort of thing, even though it still gives me a bit of a, it makes me a bit uncomfortable because like I know that somebody could be watching it. I mean, unlikely as it is, there could be somebody watching it and just kind of I'm not used to sharing my thoughts with the outside world, as it were. Um, but yeah, like I don't know how to make friends, and like I've been trying to make friends online, and uh, boy, is that a well tough time for me too. I think the problem with trying to make online friends these days is that mm, like people don't really want to be friends online, or not like friends. They want to be like, or not necessarily they want to be like, or they just are that, or they just take it that way, which is like like you basically have these friends lists, and there's people on there, and usually you accumulate these people from when you play video games, like multiplayer games. Let's say you play TF2 or War Thunder even, although with War Thunder it's a bit different because it's just in game, right? I mean, when you play something like TF2, you add people. It's on the Steam, right? On Steam, and so it's a bit of a wider. I think it's a bit of a wider sort of spread and sort of more information that the people can learn about you. Depending on your profile, obviously you can have it private or whatever, but I would say that most of the time people don't have a private profile. I think uh, by uh, by default it isn't private. You'd have to go set it to be private. Mm, but yeah, so you can basically see like what this person plays, or how many hours they have in a game, or should I be like more like this to the camera? I don't know. Um, but you have these things where it tells you, it pops up if you don't disable it by default. I can try and do that. So it would pop up somewhere like here on your screen down there, and it would say like, this and this is playing this game, and or it's just started playing, and you can see like what people are doing basically, or within like within the games. Discord, if you have Discord, right? Discord also does this sort of thing, but to I guess stronger degree, or a further, because they on Discord, right? It's not just video games. It's like it supports showing like that you're doing some apps, and uh, not just apps, right? But also music, right? If you're listening to Spotify or something like that, it'll show what you're listening to and stuff. Um, so like you have like all this information about this person without them even telling you anything. Um, but yeah, anyway, to get back to the point, the problem I have with trying to make friends with people online is that they don't really they don't really want to, or they don't really take it seriously, I guess, or like it's sort of, which to each their own, but I'm trying to make friends more sturdy friendships or whatever, sort of, um, you know, like sort of dependable friendships, I guess, or at least something more than just a like a window shopping thing. I don't know. Because you have these people that you'll play once with, and then you add them on Steam or wherever, and then they just stay there, and you never interact with them again. You just have them there, and I don't know. I personally don't have that issue with my profile because I do not partake in this sort of activity because I do not see a need to have massive friends list, or I don't get anything out of like having on my profile it says like, oh, look at this person, he has like 600 friends, and what it's the same with followers, really. Like on YouTube you can have followers, or I guess more specifically would be something like Instagram or stuff like that, right? You have followers where it literally means nothing, really, does it? It's uh, people that clicked to follow your life, basically, or what you post up there. Which I have a very limited understanding of, like Instagram and these sort of social medias, because I've never used them very well. I've never really used them. Um, yeah, like I haven't really used them because I just don't understand what is the point. Like if I want to talk to somebody, I would talk to them. I don't really like. I don't really see the need of why you would like, like take a picture of your breakfast and say like, oh, look at this. This is delicious. Uh, like, um, but I guess some people out there want to watch this sort of stuff, or feel like they're in the loop on someone's life. But it becomes a very sort of one-sided thing, doesn't it? Because it's like the parasocial, right? Parasocial relationship. It's where you have these sort of like creators, right? Let's say, and um, you have a fan, and they watch all of their content. They basically know everything about this person, but then this person has no idea they even exist. And so it's just a one-sided thing. It's like this person feels like, oh, surely, like I know so much about this person, surely I'd be important to them, and they like send them a message or something, and then they get ignored because, like, to the other person, right, to the creator, it's just another random message from whoever. They don't know this person, and it's like I don't know why you would participate in this sort of system, because I don't really see how either of the parties is benefiting from that exchange. But alas, we also have, or there's also like simps, right? Simps, and they basically give all of their financial and whatever they can to these usually female streamers, but I'm sure it's a wide range of things, right? And they'd give everything just for this person to mention their name or something, or their user tag, right? And it's like, surely this person could do better for themselves if just they, like, were friends with someone that is also friends with them. I mean, I don't know. I've never got that aspect of things, but yeah, like, but anyway, again, I guess this is more of a side tangent, but yeah, I think it is relevant to my subject nonetheless. Nevertheless, yes. I keep doing this stuff with my arms, which I don't. It's a thing I do. But yeah, so you can obviously tell I haven't scripted any of this. This is mostly scripted in my head because I couldn't, like, I can't follow scripts because my reading is not very good. Um, and just my writing also, I wouldn't know how to word things ahead of time. I'm not very good at that. But either way, to get to digress, I guess, to the actual thing again. So friendships online, me making friends with people, my experiences, why this sort of thing doesn't work. As I said, so casual, they sort of take it very casually and they don't really like, I do this thing when I meet people where I try to be interactive. I try to provide the person with, or I try to provide a sort of uh, good basis for interaction and like conversations. I try to start conversations, to have conversations with the person, to find out more about them, and to discuss things. To to sort of start up the things to get to know each other more, and I do like that. What has been told to me, I guess, is a weird thing. A thing where I go like good morning to the person like every morning, and I'll go like hello, good morning. Then I usually wait, right? I just say good morning, then send it with like a GIF or something, like some sort of good morning GIF. I usually like cat GIFs because I like cats. Or there's also this cool duck one. I might remember to put duck GIF somewhere, like this little space, to show it off. If I can remember to download it from Discord and show it off. Um, or maybe I'll remember to try and show the GIFs next to each other or something. We'll see. That's more of an editing me problem. But yeah, I try to do like good morning, then also send like a little GIF, so it's sort of like a light-hearted GIF, I guess. So it's sort of like an upbeat sort of thing, so you can sort of because I'd like to project that sort of like energy, I guess, onto the conversation. I'd like to like like a friendly hello or a friendly good morning, right? I guess in the past, right, people might have done this, like when they went outside, or like they would go to the shops or whatever, and they would say like good morning and hi, and they would be like to their local shop person, right? They would be like hello, good morning, how's it going, and like then talk about shop prices or something. I don't know, again, but whatever. So yeah, I sent this message, right, and then like people don't even like feel the need to reply, which okay. I mean, it's kind of hard to do conversations if the other person doesn't want to do them, right? But I know good morning is not really conversation, right? It's just a thing. But usually what I'm waiting for is for them to say good morning, and then I can say, like, ask some questions like, how is the morning going? What are you up to? You know, and and uh, sometimes they will tell you, like sometimes if you're lucky, I guess, with the person, they feel like conversing, and they're like, well, like I got up, I feel okay, I had breakfast or something, it was nice, stuff like that, right? And then you can go and build, more talking off of that, basically, and you get to know the person a bit more. Now, the problem is that even though the way I look for friends is not just like random people in games that I had a game with, and like I try and do this because obviously that's not a good idea, because people usually, when you play games, right, you're not looking for this sort of stuff. At least generally people aren't. But so I've been trying to use, like, I tried a few apps, no dating apps, no 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 dating, but like these meet the friendship apps or whatever, and then also like on Reddit, meeting people through Reddit and whatever through posts. And well, I don't. These people don't seem, to me at least, they don't seem to want to be friends with anybody, or they don't really want to do anything. It's like the second like I stop saying things, then there's no conversation being had, there's no nothing, and it's like it's kind of very draining for me to constantly have to start things and to always be the one that is interested in the other person and that is always like trying to find out more about the person. The person is just sort of like hand waving like the things away basically and saying like, oh, I'm fine, and then that's it. Like it's like, how's the morning? And I'm fine. Like to each their own. Like obviously, I guess some people, you know, feel that way. I don't know. Or not feel that way. I mean, like, not everybody wants to have a conversation, right? But it would be nice, like if you could if they would sometimes say hi or, like want to have a conversation. It's like, I find it really hard with these people that they they just don't seem to want to interact even. It's like, like you're on in a subreddit, right, where it's about making friends, and you make a post about like your hobbies and your personality and stuff like that, and then the people that actually the people I actually get interested in like to talk or interested in adding me or whatever, I usually like people that have interests which are totally different, so we don't really have anything in common. They don't play any of the games I play, so there's like very little crossover. Which again, it's like I don't understand. Like, it's not like that I have a very restricted amount of games. I have like 500 games. Um, but yeah, it just always somehow like either like games I don't play or stuff like that, right? And or even games I don't like, because obviously to each their own. But again, it's like if you're trying to be friends with somebody, right, and you're going through this sort of like meet phase, right? I don't understand why you would go try and make friends with somebody who is totally different to you, and then you're also like set in your sort of ways, and you don't want to like change. Well, not necessarily change. Change is a harsh word, but like you don't really want to toy with even the idea of like trying something new, like trying a different game with this person, or like again, like I try my best to accommodate these people. I try to like, or like like I say, oh look, these are my games. Do we have something in common? If we don't, then if it's something that's not paid, then I would offer like, okay, so what do you play the most, let's say, and then I would like say like, then I'd like obviously like I'd evaluate how I feel about that game. If it's a free game, like there's not that many. Well, okay, there's a lot of free games, but there's not that many free games which people play often, right? Because there's a lot of mainstream games, let's say, mainstream free games. Like Overwatch, Marvel Rivals. These things are now going. They're now popular, I guess. PUBG, Fortnite, and stuff like that. Which again, I do not really know about the popular games. I sort of stick to the games I play, which is TF2, War Thunder. It's my free games really. But again, like I'm open usually to trying. Now, the problem is that I have experiences with like Overwatch because I bought it originally before it became Overwatch 2 now in the free-to-play thing. And I've tried that game and I just don't like that. I don't think. I just think it's one of those, like, I don't think there had to be an Overwatch 2, to be honest. But to digress, anyway, um, these people, right? They say this, and so I evaluate. And if I do, even if I don't particularly like it, I'll try. Right? I'll try. I install it. I'll install it, and then I'll wait and see. Like I'll say like, oh, like I installed it. Would you like to play? And then depending on the person, that could be never. Which again, like, uh, I don't understand. Why would you be looking for friends if you don't want to interact with that person at all? It's like just something beyond my comprehension, I guess. But yeah, I try discourse this stuff, and I have not had these things work for longer than a few things. Now, I'm always blamed as the problem in this friendship, let's say. Um, Not necessarily because I do something, but well, sometimes because I do something or expectations. I guess I get told that I have too high expectations, or that you know something I'm doing something wrong, whatever. I get to put these things into a box to open these things that they talk about, uh, because obviously you wouldn't know. Um, is like so high high slash unrealistic expectations is one thing that I've had been told a few times. The specific thing about that is that I require, not really require, but I would like the person to do daily interactions, or alternatively, like, not ignore me. I mean, I think some, like, I think at least most of the people out there can agree that they don't like being ignored. I mean, I think that's a pretty basic human thing, but being ignored, and also, so okay, to put this thing I'm talking about into like a little box, and to continue to this thing, right? I'll give you an example. All right, recently I was told by a person that it's not really a friendship if I cannot go without like a few days without talking to this person, right? Now, the problem is that this is not really what was going on. Like, I understand that not, like, there's gaps, right? But the problem is, like, if you're making a friendship, right, and it's the beginning of the friendship, you can't really be like, you meet someone and then you don't interact with them for half a month and then expect that you're going to come back and be like friends, right? I think this is pretty obvious. It's you have to you have to build up a friendship first for it to be something which you can just do like that. I'm realizing the camera's changing now because it's gone dark outside, but it still looks okay. So you have to put energy at the beginning for it to be something that can last or outlast these sort of things. Uh, and the thing that this person in question didn't understand, slash I guess didn't want to understand, is that it wasn't my point that we didn't talk for those 2 days. The point was that they were they should have, like, they were available, but well, okay, not available. They were online, doing stuff online, playing games, but chose to ignore me all the same, right? And I think that's the important part of this thing I was talking about, right? Because it's no longer about lasting a day or two without interaction. It's the fact that they're ignoring you because now they have better things to do. And well, I value my friends pretty highly, or let's say my theoretical friends, because I don't really have any friends. I definitely don't have any real life friends. Long distance, I have one person I talk to, or I've been talking to for a while now, but as with most things, nothing is perfect. But obviously, I think most people can understand that you sort of need more than a single friend, right? Because then you end up being that person that asks them to play with you 3 times a day or whatever, like that meme. Uh, and or they're just busy, right? Or they usually have other friends. I mean, statistically speaking, right? Or well, I don't know if it's statistically, but based on these sort of studies and stuff, it is likely that your friend has more friends than you do. That's an interesting fact I learned, um, which I find sort of curious in a way, because it's like, like how is it possible? Because surely then somebody has to be the person where they have the more friends compared to their friend. But obviously, well, I was never under any illusion that I'd be the person with the wide amount of friends, or the more amount of friends from anyone really. But yeah, if I were to digress again, uh, it's about. Okay, I had to go back to the footage or what I was yapping about to know what I was talking about. But yeah, so basically you basically need more than just the one friend, right? Because they're busy or they have other stuff like that, right? So you know, so I've been trying to find another friend basically, and also this friend is from far away from me. Like I live in the Czech Republic, and they live in Israel, which it's far away. Luckily, not a big time difference, which again with these posts again is also sort of important for me. Where or these Reddit people, right, where you meet them, is like I try and put it in the post, like put it specified very. It's very important for me that the time difference is not more than 2 hours in each direction, and I think most people can understand why this is sort of like an important thing. I mean, I've tried it before with like people from America, or these 6 or even 12-hour differences, and no, I just can't. I have like a sort of routine I have to stick to. I have a certain time I have to go to bed. I have to wake up at a certain time, and it just wasn't worth it for me, because what happened was that the person on the other end would not be willing to sacrifice anything to play, but I would have to sacrifice everything. So I would have to be like there, like up till like 6 a.m. or something to play with them, and they wouldn't be prepared to like like allot some time earlier in their day to play, so that I could do it in a functional way or whatever. So anyway, so now I sort of do it. I keep getting confused with this. I now do this time limit, right? I mean, again, with these sort of online things, you have the issue that people just ignore it. They don't read it. And again, I don't understand. If you're trying to make friends, right, you'd think that you would want to know a bit about the person. Because usually, right, if you're making friends in real life, like I'm going out on a limb here because I do not have that experience. I'm just talking about what I've seen, what I've understood about how these things go plan out. Is you get to know this person because of like extended exposure to them, right? So you get to know things about them, and then you make friends because of the things you get to know about this person, and you sort of like you sort of lock. It's like, oh look, this person works pretty well with me, or you go the opposite direction and you find like at the beginning it was oh, it's okay, this person, or you were like a neutral because it's like, oh look, this person goes with class to me, or it's just this person, but we see each other every day, and then you find out through a longer exposure that it's like a total asshole, right, or a bully or something. Yeah, but anyway, I find it important for it to be max 2 hours in either direction, um, plus or minus to it. So for me, I am like Central European time zone, right, which is the UTC +1. I remember that. That stands for like the like the agreed time thing of the world, and it's basically the British time. It's the same thing as like the Greenwich time. Greenwich time. Uh, so it's also GMT +1. It's the same one. Although now it tells me that now it sort of works out to 2 hours. I don't know why that is. I mean, my thing has moved forwards, right? The clock has moved yeah, it is forwards because of the summer winter time thing. Like it's just I think easier to have this smaller difference in time because then it is easier to coordinate, right? To make these things work. Uh, but alas, people don't always read. Often they don't read, and don't get me wrong, I don't always automatically like they say like, oh, I'm from America or something, and I'm not always like like, okay, well, I'm not gonna bother with this. This is a waste of my time. No, I don't do that. I do try. It's just usually what happens is that you send a message and you wait 12 hours for a response, and then they give you a dry response. And it's like you've been waiting 12 hours for this response, and that's what you get. So yeah, I can't be bothered with this big times again because I'm trying to make like a sort of a main friend, I guess. Not necessarily best friend, but like for me, friends are like a sort of. I'm more of like a small group of friends, but good, like good connections with these people, important connections, or like you understand each other well and stuff. Not like because there's people out there who work very differently, where it's like it's all about having loads of friends, but it's like friends. It's like a person I met or I meet every this and that, or it's like like I go to these parties and I always see this other person there, and we're friends. Basically like sort of like an acquaintance, really, isn't it? But again, it's up to everybody how they choose to interpret friend, right, or friendship. Really, it's not really a concrete term per se. Um, like there's work friends, right? Work friends, school friends. You can have these different sort of adjectives to them, and they sort of no, not qualify. No, what's it? They basically just you know tell from the get-go. You can sort of be like, oh, okay, so it's not like a friend. It's not like a real friend. It's just that it's the sort of people you hang out with basically when you're doing this thing. So like like work friends are usually the people you go to work with, right? And it's like sort of like a friendship where like you're friendly with them and stuff when you're at work, but then once work is done, it's sort of like you go your separate ways, and sort of like a see you back at Monday, and it's like, oh yeah, see you back at Monday, and then you see if and then you spend your weekends doing other things, right? Or with your other friends. I think that is relatively understandable. Um, but yeah, I just don't really. Well, I don't have like this. As I said, I don't have like this group of close friends, which is what I'm looking for. So I don't really have a reason to try and keep these like friends or like these people but don't really interact with often or anything like that. Like, uh, if I don't interact with somebody for a long time, I'll just like unfriend them. I mean, I think some people might see that as toxic or something, but like if we're not talking anyway, I don't see what's the point of staying in that person's uh, uh, friends list, or whatever like whatever you want to call it, depending on the app you picturing this to be on. I usually only make, as I said, through Reddit, but I only talk to them on Discord. Or I only use Discord basically because I think Discord is the best for like talking, and I don't really like Reddit because with these other ones like Reddit, Instagram, Reddit, there's also the whole other sort of social media thing where there's these like sort of posts, and I just find that stuff depressing and distracting, and I would just rather not have that near me, because then, you can't get distracted if it's not there. Um, that's why I don't use Instagram, or that's why I don't have Reddit on my phone, or even why I don't currently have a Reddit account anymore, because I I just get sucked in, I guess, to these doom scrolling things or whatever, and it's just a waste of time. I think, I think that's relatable to most people out there. So I try to get myself out of that position, so then I don't have to worry about this to begin with, the doom scrolling. Yeah, but to get back to the friends thing, right? So, as I said, so this is one part of the thing like that. Then there's also the part that I think, as my looks might suggest, and also, like, I think I've tried to make it relatively clear on my YouTube channel, but I am a femboy. Now, this means a lot of different things to different people, but I would just say that I relate. The reason I call myself a femboy is because I like the sort of lifestyle, I guess. I don't have it anything to do with sexuality or sexual stuff in general. No, it's just the personality. I have that sort of personality that you'd probably associate with a femboy. And I also like to dress that way, as you can probably tell. Although currently it's more like a goth thing. If I can show my t-shirt. I think this one's pretty cute. I like it. It's like a little Grim Reaper sitting on a sofa. Um, Sadly, you can sort of see it's sort of not the best color. It's sort of fading away a bit. But yeah, I really like the t-shirt. I mean, to each their own. Really, like, it's like people might find it cringe. Then again, my whole style people find cringe. So to each their own. I will say this much. I don't think it really matters what your style is. I think the important part is that you feel good about the way you dress. You feel comfortable, and I find it sort of like a way of expressing myself in a way, I guess. Maybe that's a bit strong, but I I like it. It makes me feel better to dress the way I dress, so I dress that way. You know, I spent most of my early life, which is kind of ironic considering my age now, because I'm not that old. But I spent my most of trying to fit in, like everybody else, dressed like as least stand out as a thing, to be as samey as everybody else as possible, and it didn't get me anywhere. I still got bullied all the same. Still got, to feel shit, whatever. Now I dress like this, and while I live in a country where this is very out there, and people, I've only had bad interactions with people when it comes to like the people commenting on the way I dress. Nevertheless, I think it is worth. It is worth it. I think it's a shame that people feel the need to be so negative towards somebody just because the way they dress. But I am happier to dress like this than to try and fit in with the rest, because I don't like the way that looks, and you know, what is the point of trying to be somebody else? I don't know. Why try and chase like basically an empty slate? Like why would you want to make your personality be as bland and empty and sort of like transferable, so that you become like every other person, right? It's like, again, like if you dress like like how everybody dresses now, it's nothing against you, but uh I just it's annoying, but I just kind of relate to this style, I guess, style or the sort of need to look the same as everybody else. Anyway, to digress, right? I don't know if it's actually digress, because I thought this is what digressing from the topic is, when you go off. But to get back on topic, friends, just topic. Hopefully, I don't know if I can put this video up as friends or more of like a maybe something like a heart to heart, perhaps, because I don't know how to label it. But I've been wanting to make this video, and so I will continue. Because as you can tell by the subscriber count, this is not we are not chasing the views here. We being me, just to clear up. Yep. Anyway, to friends. So I've been trying to find out sort of like how one would go about making friends, just generally. Now, asking that question on Reddit is a terrible idea if you were thinking of doing that, just because because unless you're somebody who already has like a high, I don't know, I think it's karma on Reddit, you won't get a lot of attention from anybody. So you'll put the post out and there'll be no replies apart from the people that reply negatively and tell you like, oh, you're an idiot because everybody knows this, or go touch grass, or something like that, right? Because this is what the internet has become / always been. I don't know. It's always like people will go out of the way to be negative, and very rarely is it in the opposite direction. I try my best to be positive, especially towards others. I try to be understanding. I guess the argument can be made like it would be hypocritical if I was like a hardline something, because the way I look, uh, you know. But yeah, I try to be nice, understanding. That's why I do not understand people that choose to be toxic in online spaces of any kind. I think as I've gotten older, I have maybe grown out of this sort of, even like watching videos where it's like rage baiting or something like that. Because it's, if you take it from the perspective of the person that's being rage baited or whatever you want to call it, right? They're not having a good time, are they? They're going insane basically, and I just don't find that funny because I often can be that person in video games where I try my best to be nice and stuff, but I still struggle with if somebody else is being toxic towards me to not like go down to their level, right? Because it should be easy, right? It should be easy. You just ignore it. Just be like, whatever, right? This person, it's not worth my time because they can obviously see. Usually, they can't even talk English. Let's be honest, or they just do it in a different language generally to actually talk. But even their broken English, they try and insult you, and it's just a bunch of slurs not even connecting really. It's like, it's like, it's sort of like when you see, when you have a child, or right, or a child perspective, right, and you learn this new word, and it's like, oh, it's really bad, and I'm being really adventurous by saying these bad words, and I hope my father doesn't hear me while I I have to do it quietly, and like that sort of stuff. But you know, nevertheless, I still get successfully rage baited, I guess is what it is. I mean, I, you know, most of the time people will be toxic, right? And then they will try and be like rage baiting even if they're the one raging because it makes them feel better, right? They're like they're gonna try and convince, I guess, the rest of the match that it's like, oh guys, like this is this is a load of barnacles right here. Um, like they try and be like they try to build themselves a little pedestal because then they can feel like they're above you, and that's what these things are about. Um, High ground, moral high grounds, or something. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I mean, my advice for these things would be not to engage with them at all. If you, I think this is also a good tip generally. Is like if you're raging at a game, it is better to keep it to yourself than to pour it into the game. So, like if you're playing ranked something, uh, let's say you just got killed, right? And it's like, oh, it's like, oh, look at this guy, he's really bad. Or my teams, they throw in the game. I'm gonna break my monitor, guys, I swear. And I think it is genuinely rather, helpful to not go the step of trying to go into the game and type it into chat, like be like, oh, you stupid idiots and whatever. Because let's face it, you might be relieving some anger, but realistically you're not. Because what happens is then you get everybody else upset at you, and then you get into arguments within the team, and it just becomes worse. Because instead of the anger boiling over, you're constantly in that state, the mind state, right? Of, oh my god, this guy's stupid. He doesn't even know how to type. He's look at his look at what he's aiming at. He couldn't even hit this guy, and he was standing still, you know. And then you start arguing with this person, that you're yelling at. He's like, oh, you're stupid, and then they said, oh no, no, you're stupid, and like you get arguments. And instead of what could have been, if you left it to yourself, right, or just said it to the screen, right, it could have gone with that. But because you decided to sort of push it at the person, what you're doing is you're making a feedback loop where, you're not helping anybody, and it's also kind of worse for yourself because, like you're just gonna get more upset, right? And then most people when they play games, they do it to like either relax, right? It's not necessarily relaxing as in like relaxing, they're just sitting back there doing nothing, right? People like to play these more in-depth games or whatever. But again, I had to do a cut because of outside things. But I also watched to know what I was yapping about. So yes, the outside thing. So because if you do it at the screen, then it's just that moment and you sort of venting it out and it goes away. Now, if you do it into the chat, right, what you're doing is you're making sort of like an echo chamber, right? You're going to create an echo chamber where most often the person will also retaliate with the same sort of energy, right? And then you're sort of locked into this thing where all you've achieved now is that you're going to be more miserable. I'm speaking from experience, not from a high ground here. I'm speaking from experience of the person doing all of these things, by the way. It's not that I think like, oh, look at all these people, they're so stupid. they get sucked into these things while I'm up here, the moral high ground. I don't get sucked into any of these silly fights. But I just figure, like, I struggle with it too, again, but I think it is genuinely helpful to, because it passes quicker, and it's sort of like a one-time thing. It's like, you know, it passes quicker, and then you can get back into being normal, not angry. Because what can happen, right, is you rage quit the game, and then you're angry, and then you've ruined, at least your next, few, maybe an hour, maybe a few minutes, which you could be doing something better, or you could be feeling better for sure. And so, that is a thing too. Again, how did I get to this? From friends. Yeah, this is sadly how my mind works. My experience with this has been really bad, mostly because, well, so if you're a femboy online, right, there are certain sort of interaction which people feel the need to make with you. I think most people will sort of get what I'm getting at with this. Let's take pictures of these things, right? We're going into this section. Or there's a lot of people that I have met which genuinely only strive to make other people's lives worse. And that is their whole goal. They don't care what it costs, they don't care what it does to the person. They're specifically out there to make your life miserable. Uh, and they get off on it, I guess. Kid. Kid. Oh no, photobomb. Photobomb. The kid. His name is Kunzi. He's from the end screens of my videos. Usually you see him. He's my kid. He's a good boy. But yeah, to get back to the you've distracted me. To get back to the subject, yeah, toxic people, right? And it's like people say, you can't avoid these people online, but for some reason, there's like a gravitational pull towards me where I have met nothing but these people, really. I guess it could be a bit of a psychological bias, right? Because you're more likely to remember that than, people in general are more likely to remember negative things than they are to remember positive things. And, that is partially true, but also it is heavily not true because 99% of the people I have met have been toxic. It's been toxic. It's almost like, like a thing I'm magnetized to or something, because I am somebody that tries to help. Tries to help people. And the problem is, there are a lot of people that don't want help. And then there are a lot of people that take advantage of you giving help. Now, I am still trying my very best to be helpful and not toxic despite that, because, it is a sort of feedback loop, because these people are toxic to you, and then you become toxic and you spread the toxicity around, and I try my best to be nice to people. Sadly, they don't really do the same for me, but some of these things, it's not always it's not always about that. What are you doing? I choose to be nice because I want to be nice, not just because I expect it from the other person. I just, maybe because I'm from the position of the person of that gets gets people being toxic to them. So I feel more inclined to be nice to people because I know what it's like for the person to, it's the one who's having to deal with the toxicity. But yeah, I don't know. I just try to help people, or I try to help wherever I can, really. It's like, um, well, online, I guess, to be fair, because in real life, I am too shy to really do anything. You know, well, I just don't go out that often either, and I'm just too shy. Like, I would like to help people, but it's like, like you can see somebody struggling, but then it's like, oh, I just feel that it'd be an awkward interaction, and sometimes also it's like, uh, I feel like it's gonna be like bad because it's like all, like you see like I don't know, like a old woman and she's having issues with carrying her bags or something, and you want to go and offer to help carry her bags, but then it's like, oh, but it could just end up on a internet compilation of look at this cringy creeps that try and touch this woman or something. Especially as like I am incredibly bad at explaining myself. I usually just end up digging a deeper hole, even though, despite my best intentions, I still end up. What are you doing? He's off. I still try my best, and online for me it's easier because I guess it's not that face-to-face interaction, and I don't know. I try and help people for the sake of helping people, and who knows, maybe I meet somebody that does the same. Unlikely, I know, but you know, it's not always about the money, by the way. So I don't know if you can see. I have a 3D printer there. Oh, there, so I can print my miniatures. Uh, I was at one point like thinking if I would make on my channel about these things because I do enjoy. Well, I do paint miniatures and or slash model kits. But it's very difficult because I've never had like I had a camera like this one. I can show you. So this is like a Fujifilm one, and I was thinking like you could hook it up and you would have it like this, and it would record what you're doing down here. But the problem I found with this one is that it limits how much you can record. You can record about 3 minutes. You can see the little cat down there. I can't print him, but you can see his ears over there. Oh, he's gone. But yeah, I tried using this. I also have a more like a bigger one, but older one that I got. And the problem is like it doesn't. So you need a capture camera to connect it to a computer or a laptop, probably if I'd be doing it, because my setup for making them are in a different room. This is just my computer, my printer, and those are my there. Those are my cupboards. It's a cupboard and a wardrobe. Sorry, because my clothes are there. I also have like a junk collection now because I've been watching all these like, well, for a while now I've been watching like these content creators that make they make stuff out of trash, right? Trash stuff like that. And I thought I could do something like that because, again, it's sort of hard because I am a depressed person. But I do have still remaining a bit of creativity, which I try and use in my videos. To limited success. I don't know. I'm quite proud of my videos. I know that some people find them cringy, but I like them. I like it that way. I like my little goofy intros. I felt kind of shitty that I didn't manage to do that for the big one I did, because I put a lot of effort into that video, which ended up being like 40 minutes. But I think I did relatively okay on that one too. I missed the intro, which I like to put like a little funny sort of compilation of things, of sounds, because I have a soundboard, not a physical one, like a thingy app. I used to like to use it for like in games and stuff, but people don't like. I found it funny, even as from the perspective of the people hearing the soundboard, but then uh, people just don't like it anymore, I guess, or the people I run into don't like it, so and they would kick me from the game, so I stopped doing that. And also, I have to admit that my soundboard is kind of cringy for most people, but I find it funny. To each their own, as they say, or as I keep saying. But yeah, so I was planning on using this and stuff, trying that, but it's limited. You can only do like 3 minutes. 3 minutes of 1080p at 60 FPS, or like 2 minutes at 4K 15 FPS, which I don't know. That seems terrible, but I guess it's because of the storage partially, but it's also not to do with the storage, because I tried using like a big, well, because it has a card, right? It has an SD card. If I can show you. See, like one of these ones. This is an old one. So this is only 2 gigas. 2 gigs. This was actually from the old camera, because that one's a lot older. And I replaced the other one with because it's a bigger camera and it's a better camera, even if it's older. But I tried it with like 165 gigs and stuff, but the timer is not changed. It's set by the manufacturer or whatever, and nowhere in the settings could I get past it. Even when hooking it up to like the phone app, which they have, you can't really bypass it, which is a shame. But yeah, so to actually connect it to a computer, you need a capture card, which is sort of like a little thing that encodes it basically to make the computer understand what the camera's giving it. Which I still don't understand why it cannot be included in the computer, this knowledge, because I've seen capture cards, and you can get capture cards which are basically about this big, and they're just a cable. So you have a cable, and then you have a little square on it, where one side is a HDMI cable, which is what goes out of the camera, because it's not actually a full HDMI that goes out of the camera, it's micro HDMI, and then it goes to a big HDMI, right, on the other side usually. And that you would connect to this card, and then you connect it via USB, I think, USB to the computer. But yeah, I don't understand this. But again, I'm not I'm not an whatever, like like an engineer, or I don't know what this would be to understand that. I'm studying programming. Who could afford? But I'm still early into my programming days, so I still don't have a lot of knowledge about these things. But yeah, so I got this webcam. It's 1080 and 30 FPS, because they're quite expensive. Who would have thought? But 30 FPS to me looks fine. I usually make my videos in 60 FPS. But if apparently it said it should be fine, and I think it is fine at 30 FPS for the movement that I'm doing. It's apparently that you want 60 FPS if it's like you're doing like gaming commentary or something, because of something movements or something. I guess maybe if you're like capturing your mouse and you're going like, oh, because you can sort of see you can see sort of like it is sort of like a thing. I mean, again, I'm going on a tangent now, but I still think I can make this into the video, because I think maybe somebody could find it useful. But yeah, like my experience with people in general has been not the best. Um, uh, I've been pretty close to just giving up on people generally. I mean, I've been fighting the sort of giving up on everything in general, if you know what I mean. Um, but yeah, with people, I just don't know, because to me it seems that I am not capable of like finding nice people, I guess. Um, to circle back to earlier point subject I was talking about is like the meeting people in real life. Um, so I found out that people meet people like like at social venues or whatever, right? Or bars or coffee shops. Um, but it was really weird because I was looking at like dating. I know, crazy. Uh, but like how people would naturally find a date, right? Without these apps and stuff. Because I don't believe in these apps. I don't have the mental fortitude to deal with the people that live on these apps. I've tried them before, and uh, still recovering from that, as I think most people that have tried them can relate to, especially if you're a guy, I guess. I mean, maybe it's worse if you're a girl because of the sort of type of messages you'd be getting, but on the other hand, when you're a guy, it's more like just what's it called, like the tumbleweed, goes flying past. This, yeah, but yeah, so coffee places or like these bars or something. But then it was like, that the best way or the people do it apparently is that you have to have through friends, and then you have friends and stuff, and then you go to this place and you sort of build your social network, which like my social network is my parents, and that's it. But uh, you know, I don't understand why everything always has to be this rigid, rigid. Like everything has to be this sort of like like I'd like to find a date, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grow my social network so I can get to more people or something. And why? But alas, my lack of understanding of the human behavior aside, yeah, like I don't know, like I I not a sort of person that would go to these things. I'm not a social person, which is probably to my detriment now, as I get as I get told. Please do not switch the computer off. Oh no. um, Social venues, because I find it really stressful. Very stressful, and I wouldn't really meet anybody that way either because I would never approach someone else. Um, because I'm scared of people. And also, I just think generally here, it's not a thing that happens. It's like a weird thing here. Like, people don't really randomly interact with each other over here. Which, I mean, I understand, but it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to meet people if you don't have like a school you go to or work, because I mean, even if you do, then you end up with those sort of things that I was talking about, which is not really what I would consider friends. It's um, it's like the people that are you only sort of interact with for the time that you're there, and then usually like you finish school and you go your separate ways, I guess. Uh, but yeah, so I've got no idea how to go about anything really. when it comes to this. I've tried internet, and I'm probably gonna give it a long, long gap now again, because I've just got out of another shitty experience, another character development arc, if you want to put it that way. And yeah, I don't know. I thought that I would do this video. I've been wanting to make this video, because maybe someone out there might relate, and who knows? Um, if you're, this is probably a bad idea, but if you're looking for a friend, you can try, you could try talking. So I think my channel sort of shows what I play, but I should be able to is here. So it's the same as my account. It's the same as the account on YouTube. You can check out the profile if you want. I've got some cat pictures here too. Some cat pictures here. But see, like, this is like the sort of place you can see what the games I play are. But I don't do YouTube videos on, because I do quite a lot of different games, which I just couldn't make into the sort of videos I like to do. You can try this, or my Discord is like, so at or whatever, right? Lonely Cat, so Lonely Cat 06. But there's, between the lonely and the cat, there's a dash, and it's big L, big C. I would show you the thing, but it's gonna show you my Discord messages. I don't want to do that. But yeah, so now that you saw that, you can maybe think. But so, to keep in mind, like, what to expect from somebody like me, right? Because I kind of got it from stop, leave the camera alone. The catties. Stop it. Leave it alone. No. Oh, come on. I'm almost done with the video. Come on. Okay. Well, to get an understanding, it would be nice to, if you're gonna reach out this way, to mention something about yourself, and also that you're coming from this. Or you could try in the comment section. Use the comment section, say hello, or just just say like, hi, I'd be interested, and somehow go from there. So yeah, but so to clarify, I don't really take random friend requests or whatever. But if you're from this video, then if you put a reason, so if you're adding me on Steam, for example, you can comment it on my Steam profile, like say, hi, I'm adding you because of your video I saw or something, and we can talk like that, get to know each other, see if it works. To know about me, what do I do? Well, I play video games. I do the miniature painting slash building and stuff. I don't actually play any of the games, like tabletop games, though I might. It's just I don't have anybody to play it with, and they're kind of complicated, and I just like the models. I've also been considering making my own little universe. I'm not sure how I'm gonna go about that yet. I have plans to do that. I think my YouTube videos are probably gonna stay similar in the way they are, but I might try and diversify it a bit depending on how I get things working. I'm probably gonna do a few more of these sort of videos, like I guess you could almost say vlogs of this thing. Just talking, because I think one thing that this can do, right, talking to a camera, is you hone your social skills, and then you can sort of feel it can feel easier for you going into the so you know I live in the Czech Republic, um, which is UTC +1 time zone. So if you're in a relative time zone, feel free. Uh, and generally, if you want sort of, let's say, more in-depth friendship, then that's sort of what I'm looking for. Um, but yeah, the games I play, you can see on my profile, but you can tell by my content that it's usually Team Fortress 2, War Thunder. Uh, I I don't really do any of other gaming platforms. I just stick to Steam. I hate Epic Games, the launcher, not necessarily the company, although I'm not really a company liker of any sorts. And I don't have like any consoles that are current gen or multiplayer at the moment. But yeah, so that's that. I like cats. I like dogs. I've showed my dogs in one of my videos. I also have a rabbit. I live with my parents. If that isn't obvious, I live on my separate floor in a family house. Hopefully, maybe somebody out there might find this relatable or useful in any way. I think I tried to add a few bits and tidbits of useful knowledge. I might make it into two parts, the video, because it's probably like an hour or so. But I think it might actually be better to keep it in one video because, like, I don't really care about the views, so I don't care if somebody watches it halfway through and then leaves and comes back, watches the rest. Some people might only watch the beginning and see like, oh, this is not what I'm interested in. What the hell is this? And not watch. But I think it's worth a shot. And if anything, I feel like better because I get to practice my social skills. And you never know where it might lead you. But yeah. But if I also mention it on here, then maybe I'll feel more inclined to doing it. Is the thing. It's the same thing with like when you record something, you might feel more motivated to record it, more motivated to do it because you're recording it. Like say for your YouTube channel or whatever. Even like to keep in mind that it isn't important to have millions of views or whatever. The important part is that you're doing something you want to do, and because you're doing videos about it, it makes you, it motivates you. It's like, oh, look, I can record it, and it's like you sort of watch it back, and you're like, oh, look what I did. That was a cool thing. I did a pretty good job, and stuff like that. Or you can see stuff, which you were like, oh, when I was here doing this part here, I could have improved it, and next time I'll know where to focus on. So yeah, I would advise that to the people out there. I'm also doing it to see, like I get to see myself a bit more than I do, because as most people out there probably, I do not particularly like myself in the mirror, but I'm trying to learn to like what I see. I've had some people, well, some people get a bit too excited about the way I look. But yeah. So yeah, if you feel like you want to try being friends with me, you can try my Discord or my Steam server probably, because then you can actually put the reason why you're adding me because there's also a lot of bots and stuff like that, which is why you shouldn't take random invites from strangers on the internet in this sort of environments, because it can be often like scammers or something. Like I've been scammed twice, I think, out of my TF2 items, but this is a long time ago. I have learned from my mistakes. I hope I have learned but yeah. But yeah, even if you're not, feel free to share, on the video if you relate or your stories. I mean, maybe, to each their own, because everybody feels, everybody has their barriers of how much they want to share. You should also think about what you're sharing if, it could be used against you, for example. Like, I mean, this could be used against me, but I'm okay with that because I think it's worth the risk. I think it's one. I think it's worth the risk. Two, I think, like, I don't mind like talking about this stuff. It's like I don't think somebody saying, "Oh, like, oh, look at it. I've got it here. This evidence here. You said this," and you know, I'm okay with that. But you should keep that in mind if you're doing these things. Safety, your safety, try not to give your exact location away or your location. Don't challenge people to try and find where you are because they will. That's like the number one. Don't poke the bear. There's always going to be someone talented enough that they can find you no matter where you live. So don't challenge it. There's no reason to. And you know, like I guess already just because of the way I look, there might be people out there who would want to hurt me or damage me in some way. So maybe keep that in mind too. Depending on what you're saying out there, you might find enemies easily, and who knows how far they're prepared to push said things. But yeah, I think I already did that. I think that's gonna be everything for this video. Oh yeah, I also read. I'm reading H.P. Lovecraft, the Dunwich Horror and other stories right now. I have made pretty good, progress through the book. Oh, yep. I've read 3 other of his compiled stories. I think it's a good read for those who like sci-fi. No, it's classified as horror or something, right? I think the world of horror. Okay, so it's deep dark world of horror. But I would recommend these books. They're a bit racy because they are old. They're like 19. The last one, because he died in like 1940, 1930-ish, 39, I think. So they're a bit of the times, but I think they're pretty good to read. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you watched to the end, even if you didn't, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.